Welcome to another episode of the Ambitious Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Sabine the Purpose Lawyer. Thank you for listening and thank you for helping me be on purpose. So today I wanted to talk about another unfortunate situation. Another artist has passed away, unfortunately, from senseless violence, which is a whole another topic. But a young man by the name of PnB Rock, who was a rapper, has passed away at the age of 30. He unfortunately left a child and, well, two children and a partner, who survives him. And I'm unclear about, his family situation or his family outside of that. But again, a young person who died unexpectedly. And so I wanted to talk about this story. Although it's sad, it does shed some light on a family scenario or a relationship scenario that can help people understand what happens if you pass away without a plan and you are in a relationship but unmarried. And so this is common, right? So many people are in relationships and they are unmarried because they just choose to do life together that way, right? They just choose either marriage is not part of their non-negotiables or it's just that they haven't gotten around to it. They weren't ready, right? It happens. But a lot of times that doesn't stop people from either buying property together or starting businesses together or having children together, which, as we know, is extremely common. But it's really what marriage provides is the contractual relationship, right? It also provides you a lot of rights that the law sort of recognizes and puts you as priority in this person's life, right? That's kind of what you're saying when you're getting married. So if you choose not to get married, which is fine, you do definitely want to have some sort of contract or agreement in place to make sure that this life that you're building with the other person, you're actually going to continue to benefit, or you're going to benefit from the other half if something were to happen to them, if that's the sort of if that's the decision that you guys want to have, right? Or if that's the idea that if something happens to me, you get it. If something happens to you, I get it. Or whatever the agreement is, it should be in writing. It should be, something that the law would recognize. And so when you have a situation where you're not married, you're especially vulnerable to not having an estate plan. So what is an estate plan really? Some of you know, but some of you don't. So an estate plan is essentially putting a plan together for your stuff and your money in the event that you die, and how those things are going to benefit or impact your family, your children, your loved ones, right? And so as simple as that, things that we use are the tools to really put this sort of plan in place. And the plan acts as a vehicle to get your assets from you during your life to either the next generation or those who you sort of leave behind. And so when you don't have this relationship, you have a situation where the person is left without any benefit of anything that they had contributed to helping you build, right? So in PnB Rock's situation, I don't know the level of involvement his girlfriend had in his life or helping him with his career or whatever the case is. The way she presents it is that they were building a life together, right? That he was the breadwinner, that he was the provider of the family, that, although she worked, like he was the one who took care of her and the child, the daughter. And so because of that, now she's like, we're left with nothing. He didn't have life insurance. He didn't have a will. We get nothing. And, that's basically the scenario. So if she did have some involvement, or if it was his desire for her to benefit from his estate, which allegedly was $8 million, then he needed to have put a plan in place that says, hey, if I die, I would like for my state to ensure that my loved one, my partner, and my children receive my estate. And so now without him putting a plan in place, such as a will, such as a trust, without him putting something in place, now his state is going to say, because this person passed away, we're going to assume that he wanted his estate to go to his next of kin. And now that he has children, he's able to have, his children would be the ones who would be next in line. Most states look at it that way. If you don't have a spouse, but you do have children, your children will receive. If he didn't have children, then it might be his parents or his siblings, and so on and so forth, depending on who is alive and depending on how the state sort of recognizes, that line of distribution is what it should be called. And so because he didn't have that, so his state is actually going to get to decide. And that may be okay. His children will receive his estate. The mothers of his children actually don't have any rights to even go and open up his estate. So like this surviving partner cannot now go to court and say, hey, my spouse passed away, or my partner passed away, I want to open up their estate and see, what's available for me. Because she's actually a parent of one of his children, as a guardian of one of his children, she can go to the court and do that and say, hey, my partner passed away, I'd like to open up this estate, which is a process called probate or something similar in various states, right? Or administration, I should say, because he didn't have a will. And so that's the process that needs to happen. But sometimes, say the mothers of the children don't want to do it, or they don't have the wherewithal, the capacity to go and have this done, whether they hire a lawyer or they try to take it on themselves, they just don't want to do it. Then the estate kind of just sits there until somebody or something makes that move. Maybe it be a creditor or somebody else makes that move to be able to open up the estate. Or maybe when the children get older, they're so young, so it's going to be years and years from now, that they say, hey, I was supposed to get something from my father. Let's see if there's still something out there that I can get, and I have to now go and open the estate. And that's the danger of not having this plan, because when you have young children, you really need to put a plan in place that say, hey, if I pass away and my children are young, this is what I'd like to happen with my assets. First of all, these are my assets, so that somebody knows what all your assets are. These are the people who I want to be in charge of distributing or managing my assets, until my children are older. And then when my children are older, this is when I'd like to have these assets, and this is how I'd like them to get these assets, right? All these decisions went unmade, right? Because he wasn't here, or he's not here to make them, but he didn't put a plan in place while he was around. And so I just want to see less of this, right? Don't want to see, it's bad enough that families are losing loved ones unexpectedly and at young ages. That's bad enough. We don't need to also now scramble and have financial burden and figure out how to pick up the pieces and have assets lost and all that good stuff, or all that bad stuff, I should say, right? Bottom line is, have an estate plan in place, have a will, have a trust, whatever is good for you and your family, but have something. And especially when you are in relationships with individuals or business partners, even whatever type of relationship that you are not blood, next in line, next of kin relationship, you absolutely need to have a plan in place that says what happens to your assets, what happens to this financial ties that you have with each other if you were to pass away. So I know that was quick, but I hope it was, helpful for you. I wanted to definitely be direct and to the point. If you have any needs, such as estate planning, you have questions about this stuff, you need an estate to be administered or probated, now that you know what that is, and you want to work with us, the Ambitious Legacy Firm, I'll be so happy to work with you. And if we cannot work with you, I'd be happy to connect you to my network and make sure that you get someone to answer your questions and help you with your journey. So that's it for today, and I will see you next time.